You know, who believes in fate? I haven't got a really much plastic to put under those the pad of concrete. But obviously, look, this is insulation, thermal. They're building houses up the street. This is blown up from the building site, or it's fallen off a truck on the way out, or whatever. But it ended up in front of the house. Now, usually I would curse and swear, but in this case, we've got a job for this, haven't we? Oh, the building gods are shining down upon us and supplying us with material. Ooh, fantastic. So it's always worth, when you're doing or thinking of a project, we need those doors to completely open, don't we? Yeah. So we'll have to change the way the weight works. I think we might put a pulley up there. I think we've got a pulley now to put up there, so we can go directly from here to there and put a weight on the end. Cupboards are going to work, but the cupboards are going to miss. It's very tight though. Ooh, very close. So we're going to make sure we don't get ourselves into trouble there, make too much of a step. It's going to be just exactly 2 foot and a bit by 1 foot and a bit, I think. I haven't got much room to be making any mistakes. This door opens fine. That door opens all the way, which traps that one fine. It's going to be okay, you know, it's going to be okay. So this door opens as wide as it ever did while it opened. Yeah. And this door opens so we can come across the edge of this wall here, so that's no problem there. When we go in, we don't want to foul or have to re-alter this door to make it fit, which is the sort of usual score. So that will close right up tight, so we can only come a foot away. We've got to be pretty exact on our measurements. And this is going to open nice and wide to where we want it to go to get the car in. So yeah, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. We're going to make a mix, haven't we? I was thinking actually half of this up here could be the plastering is touching the floor, and maybe we should knock the plaster off. Maybe we've plastered it to the bottom, which is sucking the water up here. We'll have to look at that. I do intend finishing this off by cutting a line in here across to there and filling that. Same as this side. We did the ramp, we did the floor, we did the ramp, but we didn't do the corners, did we? So another job waiting for my retirement. Yeah. So we might do that when the sun's nice. So and always test run your stuff. So anyway, let's crack on then. Let's crack on and try not to get in the way of this thing. Stop this thing from banging you on the head. Look. It's really good when you need to jam the door shut. It keeps keep the door open. It's a good weight. It keeps the door open, but I'm going to have to refigure that out. And I think it's just going to have to be a weight, like you know, inside the sash windows. We'll have a proper pulley up there, which I think I've seen one now. I found one, and we'll just have it dangling down the side here. Anyway. Let's crack on, shall we? So the cupboard is exactly 1 foot. Yeah, the cupboard is exactly 1 foot. So we're going to go. I want to clean this edge a bit, trim that a bit more, do something like this. But now we know where we're going to go. Our first one comes along here, so we're going to go 1 foot and about 10 mil. Yeah. We're going to do a foot and a 10mm out, I think. So hold on a minute. So here's the wall. Here's the foot. Let's give it 10mm over or so. Yeah. There's plenty. Hold on. Try and make the drill work. Right. What do we say? There's the wall. A foot and a bit. That's it, maximum. Let's come out in line with that there. Within that wall, there we are. I'll drill this hole and I'll show you why I'm doing it. So you've got all your fancy measuring tools, all your architect's drawings, all your everything. But it boils down to a nail in a fixed point and a piece of string. Yeah. Sometimes a batter board, pegs in the ground. If you're anywhere near the HS2 and you're looking at the ground being built, if you look at the ground, whenever you go on any sort of building site, you look at fixed points, data points. They'll put this here, and yes, it's very accurate. They can measure to the tip of a nail, but at the end of the day, there's a nail stuck somewhere, or a stud, or there's a fixed point somewhere. So we've made this a fixed point, so we know we're not going to come any further out. So we've measured it. So no matter what we do, what we make now, this nail being in this hole here, which is only a, you know, that we know now, that is that fixed point, and everything will work around it. And we'll put another one up here, and then we'll know exactly where we're going to be. It doesn't matter what we do, how much we trim, how much we move. So a nail, you need a fixed point to work from, or a determined, you know, we've already determined where this nail needs to be. So now we're going to keep it there, yeah. And anything underneath it, I don't know. Yeah, anyway, we'll put one there and we'll put one there. So we've got our fixed points that we're going to work to. And all buildings and building sites and all that, like I say, it's all posh and everything, but you'd be surprised how they boils down to a piece of string and a nail. Even laying bricks, they use a piece of string, don't they? They make these big fancy buildings, and it's come up with a nail and a string, because without the nail and the string, they'd be done in. So we've got our two fixed points in the ground. Let's just make sure they're correct. It still works just fine. That's going to go there on its max, which then allows that to open. It's going to be fine. Yeah, it's more than fine. So we'll put our wood up against here, and up against there, and we know where we're going, and we know it's just over a foot. We've just double checked it. That's just over a foot, fine, and that's just over a foot, but we're going to trim some off that. Yeah, we're going to clean this corner out, so I've allowed for cleaning this corner out in there. We're going to clean a bit more out that corner, maybe take this off, and then we'll start again. So yeah, give yourself a fixed, and you know, the trucks run them over, make them so you can't knock them, you know, you can mark it with a marker, but it can be rubbed out or it can be moved. Work on nails, you've got your fixed point there, haven't you? And if you put them in so hard, all you have to do is grind them off or cut them off or even knock them in further. There's our two fixed points for this little job here. So because we're working to the corner, because we're going to put some of that foam behind it, we'll put a plastic on the floor, we'll let the concrete set, we'll cut the plastic off, and then we'll come at it again with the foam behind it, and then we'll put the cupboards up, which is only going to be that thick anyway, you know, it's only thin stuff, isn't it? So it means we really have to clean the bottom of these corners out. So that's what we're going to do, is clean the walls out and make a real square corner down there. So we've cleaned them corners out. Yeah, and the top level is going to end up into them corners. The bottom doesn't really matter. There was a bit of a high spot here, so we took that away, just make it easier for the piece of wood that's going across here to stay there. We've got our fixed points that we put there before we even started, and we didn't go near them or disturb them. So, and that corner is well scrubbed clean. We can continue. Obviously, you would have really put a bed of sand on, then you would have put the plastic on, then you would have put the concrete on, but that's we haven't got that sort of depth to mess about with. So we're just going to get the plastic, put it on there, and it's gravity that's going to hold it in place. There's nothing going to move it left or right. We might bang a few nails in just to give it a bit of a grip, but of course nails makes a hole in the plastic which allows the stuff to come up. So yeah, put that plastic in there, two layers deep, put this, make a mix, make the shuttering, and we're away. Yeah, blimey. So look, we are using a level and the bubble is in the right place, so that's nice and level. We'll run this back here nice and level when we're done, so it won't be too bad. Anyway, this front face is nice and level, so just run it back from there. It's going to be just fine. That worked out quite nice. The bag of sand, we're using our last bag of sand. The bag of sand that the last bag of sand we used, we can reuse it here, can't we? That's going to work out just nice. So we're going to use the bag of sand that we had, that we knew we had. So we knew we had a bag of sand. We're going to make a little extra. It doesn't matter if we make a little extra because we've already got a place we can go, which is under the shelving, isn't it? And this is that bag of cement that we bought from the other job. We had half a bag left. So we're going to use a whole load of that. Finish that off. I'm going to mix it first. But also, what I wanted to point out here was, do you remember, do you know the stuff, hold on, do you know the stuff that we dug out the floor? Do you know the stuff we dug out the floor? We can reuse it. Cement, concrete and gravel is the most, way before the Greens, we're going to take the biggest bits out, way before the Greens got their fingers on it, recycling, concrete was one of the oldest materials, you know, basic materials that they have recyced. It's the most recyclable stuff is cement, concrete. Where do you think all of your old buildings that have been pulled down has gone? Where has all that material gone? It's somewhere, you know, if you were to follow it all, it is somewhere around being reused. Concrete, obviously, you know, if you're making a nuclear reactor, obviously you've got to use new stuff. But for just general building, road making, and that sort of stuff, concrete and sand and cement is one of the most recyclable. Over and over and over and over. Make a building, wait until they get old, knock the building down, rebuild it. You know, it's ultimately recyclable because it doesn't wear out, does it? No. Fantastic stuff, concrete. So we're going to use, I think we'll use a bit more. I think we'll use a bit more. We'll get another shovel full of it. Once you've added water to it, we don't want the big bits, do we? We'll take the big bits out. Which in fact, if you were making a bigger plate of concrete, they would all disappear. We're certainly going to use a little bit, aren't we? We're going to recycle this all over again. Yeah. I think we've made way too much. But the thing about it is, we've got under them shelves to do, haven't we? Yeah. We've got plenty of places to take it. Make sure you haven't got pockets of pure sand. Make sure the cement runs through it all. And off you go. Yeah. I've got a mixer. Bloody hell, I must stop mixing sand and cement and concrete by hand. The mind is willing, but the body's knackered. Woo! Anyway, a bit more water. I want it a bit more sloppery, but not enough that it'll escape. But I want it fairly runny. And then what we don't use there, we'll clear out and we'll put under behind the shelves there. Remember there was a step there. Yeah. So we don't have to do a hell of a lot to it. It's not as if, you know, sometimes, as we've seen on the wall, its own weight can be its own enemy. So we're just gonna put it on top of the plastic there and dribble it in nicely. Ooh. Slopper, 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 slop. Right, here we are. And just put it in. Really, we put a nice edge on the back of there, so that's going up against that back wall. If we did think that it was going to perish, the tubs, it ain't now, is it? No. And it's not pushing against itself. It's not causing its own weight. So it's not going to escape underneath. I should really have maybe cable tied them together. We'll give it one more, shall we? You know, if we were doing any sort of depth, we'd the weight would push it away. But it's only a little thin skin we're doing, aren't we? No big deal. Where on earth is my spreading on? Ooh! Right. This'll do. This'll do. And it's going on nice dry ground, isn't it? So. Keeps itself there, look. Yeah, that'll be just fine. You might put a brick there or something. That's going to be fantastic. It's going to be amazing. And just let it settle. It'll soon dry. It'll soon dry. Make that edge nice. Make this in here. Blimey. I think we've just about got enough, haven't we? It's going to be nice. Let's just make sure that edge stays clear. You don't get any build up in the corners. Give that an hour or two. Come back and play with it. You know, if it was deeper, its own weight would push the shuttering away. But it's just sitting here. It's going to be perfect for what we want to do. Just a floor, isn't it? just a floor, a bit of a floor. Yeah. And we'll come back and play with it later. I might just put something to jam that in up against that nail, maybe another piece of wood. That's all we need. Yeah. Making concrete, it's amazing how it can be so liquid and watery and yet it dries rock solid, doesn't it? I'm always amazed by it. It's like black magic, isn't it? Do you remember when we put these shelves on, we were making these shelves, we had a gap behind the wood, didn't we? So I knew I wanted to make a bit more. So we're going to put it in there. We've got a home for it to go to. We've got a home for it to go to. Oh, go down that gap there. We'll nicely fill that gap there. Up. Still gonna fill that gap at the back of that, so we're not going to lose anything down there, are we? Let's spread that about. There we go. Going to swallow it all. Woo! Where were we? Where's our trowel? There. That's staying there. There's our little pad to kneel on. Yeah. Let's get under here. Let's push all this in from over there. Oh, that's going to be great, you know. It's going to be just great. We're not going to lose stuff down the end of the... We're going to end up losing stuff, are we? I mean, if you wanted to, you could bank it up, couldn't you? You could put a slope on it, but we don't want a slope. We can put that, don't we? It's been deep enough. Take the stuff now. We'll just shove that in the hole as we go along, as we need it. I think we've got enough to do there now. That's a lot better than a hole, isn't it now? Isn't it? Just much better. Like a hole, see? Bit of a stone, a bit steep, big there. Doesn't matter. Push it all in. And on long you go, look. And as it dries, you can do a bit more with it. Sometimes it's a bit too wet, but you need it wet to go where you want it to go. And then just generally mess with it and push it. And it's going to be just fine. You're in the way now, so you've got the idea now, haven't you? Yeah, there was a big gap behind there, wasn't there? And I think we've got a gap behind there we can use. We've got a bit left. We'll put in that other gap, I think. We had a little bit of a gap here just to finish off around here, didn't we? Yeah, so we'll do that now. We'll put it in there. So what's so fantastic about the sand and cement? If you remember, first time we put it in, we put the wood there. We got too much stuff, so we moved it here. We've still got a bit of stuff. So all we're going to do is we're just going to move the angle of the dangle until we've got enough. Just bring it to an end. I mean, it wouldn't go anywhere if you just left it like that. Because we know we're going to come back to that. And it's drying and we can move it. Sand and cement, concrete is so shapeable, malleable. Yeah, it's amazing stuff. You can do what you want for it. So let's move the angle of the dangle. Let's push that in there so it fills it all, and then push the end up until it fills, and we'll see what it looks like. But we know we're coming around this corner here, aren't we? So we're probably going to be building up on, and we know we want to put a wall here, so if we cut it out, we cut it out. If we decide to build on top of it, we can build on top of it, can't we? Yeah, anyway, let's do that now then.